Great stories begin with great characters, whether it's a dwarf named Dopey or a mermaid named Ariel. The Disney characters speak to us in a language understood the world over, with their humanity, their humor, their heart. Now, how the Disney animators bring these characters to life, that's a great story in itself. I think the beauty of the Disney limited editions art is in the way it captures those special moments that touch all of us. Walt was a genius at telling stories that inspired our artists to greatness. Beginning with history's first feature-length animated film, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Walt and the animators literally invented a new storytelling medium.
To inspire the animators who would be working on the dwarfs, we brought in some comics from the local burlesque house to show us how the dwarfs might dance.
I saw all the Disney classic animated features as a kid in Germany where I grew up, and the very first one I remember was The Jungle Book, and that one inspired me so much to really want to be a Disney animator that I just had to write to the studio and to animators such as Walt Kimball and Milt Kahl, and I just asked them, how do I get into Disney? And they gave me some very good tips, and here I am after 15 years. I've had a chance to work and animate on some of the modern classics, and one of the characters is actually Jafar for Aladdin. But I also drew Mickey Mouse and Roger Rabbit. I animated King Triton for The Little Mermaid. And other villains were Gaston in Beauty and the Beast, but also Scar for The Lion King. Today, we take a lot of care and pride in preserving our animation art. Unfortunately, most of the art from the early days was lost or destroyed.
Sometimes we don't recognize the value of what we've got until it's gone. Fortunately, the talent and technique for recreating this great art still exists through the efforts of Disney Art Editions, publishers of Walt Disney Studios Animation Art.
Animation is one of the most significant art forms of our century. It is an art form that combines many of the older art forms, such as graphics, painting, acting, poetry, and writing, with modern 20th century technologies such as optics, mechanics, and even computers. And it brings them all into the fourth dimension through the element of time. The great thing about animation is that the film revealing itself on the big screen in time, such as Disney's Fantasia or Snow White, can be appreciated as an art unto itself. But the many discrete elements that went into the making of that film, such as cells and animation drawings, these also can be appreciated for their aesthetic qualities, for their beauty, and for their craftsmanship.
Everybody has a favorite Disney character. At Disney Art Editions, we bring your favorite characters and their rich history to life in limited edition serigraphs known as sericels. These sericels are created with the same artistry and attention to detail which characterize Disney animation.
The production process for the sericels begins with the original animation art, which is kept in the Disney Animation Research Library. It's a fabulous resource for us. We can find original artwork for animation going all the way back to the early 30s. This is a color call-out. It helps us recreate the characters just as you remember them. The color palette is one of the key elements that defines a character's personality. We begin by creating a master cell that will be the source for all the elements used in the production of the sericel. An artist makes a stencil for each color in the painting. A single cell can contain as many as 40 colors. We place the stencils one at a time on screens covered with emulsion. and expose them to an ultraviolet light source. The unburned emulsion gets washed away when we rinse off the screen with a jet of water. Paints are mixed to precisely match the colors in the original cell. This means testing the paints to see how the colors change after they dry. Beginning with the line drawing, we layer the color on, one pass at a time. For each pass, we use a different screen, which allows paint to penetrate only in the area which is that one color. After it's printed, the Sericel gets checked one final time before we make it available to collectors.
I think it's important that through Disney Art Edition Sericels, collectors and fans can acquire Disney animation art for themselves, because the Disney characters really do become a part of people's lives.
When I was young, I wanted to be a Disney animator. However, I can't draw, so to express my appreciation for the art form, I collect Sericels. I've collected 8 up till now, and this one with Belle and the Beast is my favorite.
I've been a true Disney fan ever since I was a small child and first saw Cinderella. As an adult, grown up, I found out we can collect Disney art, and with my love of Disney, I think I've begun to infect my daughter Desiree.
Yes, she has. And right here is my favorite of the Disney cells, Cinderella. My walls are filled with many Disney cells, and I've even named my animals after Disney, such as Figaro, Flower, Lucifer, and Simba.
When I was about 8 years old, I was homesick with the chicken pox one weekend, and Walt and Willie came over to have dinner with my mother and dad. Walt came up to say hi to me and wound up sitting on the edge of the bed telling me the whole story of Pinocchio. Those are the kind of memories you cherish as long as you live. If they had seen these limited editions, I think Walt and my dad would have been very proud.